Matthew's Gospel, chapter by chapter and verse by verse.
Welcome to lifeisonedayataTime.com. I'm Minister Chestnut, and thank you for joining me again on another day of life and another day of love. The living is riches and glory. But first, I'd like to wish you grace, mercy, and peace, because the way
2021 is ending.
we need all the grace, all the mercy, and all the peace we can handle. As we continue, this is our 52nd episode of Life is One Day at a Time.com.
2021.
Every Friday, and we are going to continue into 2022. Every Friday, an old-fashioned Bible study where we go through the Bible chapter by chapter and verse by verse. The last time we were here, Jesus has just finished feeding the multitude, and he was talking to some of the Sadducees and the Pharisees, and he was about to have another encounter. Chapter 16. The Pharisees also with the Sadducees came and tempting, desiring him that he would show them a sign from heaven. They always want to see something spectacular. He answered and said unto them, when it is evening, you say, it will be fair weather, for the sky is red. And in the morning, it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red and lowering. Now, these are signs of the weather that they could tell. But what did he say? O ye hypocrites, you can discern the face of the sky, but you cannot discern the signs of the times. Now, that's just about where most people today, they are not aware of the signs of the times. Like right now, we're in the fifth trump. We're in the fig tree generation. The signs of the times, we can expect the Antichrist to show up any minute. And then after that, shortly after that, Jesus will be coming back to straighten this place out. Because he'll be coming back with an iron rod. As we continue in Matthew. A wicked and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign, and there shall be no sign be given into it, but the sign of the prophet of Jonas. And he left them and departed. Hey, that's the only sign they was going to get, the sign of Jonas. That's 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the whale, and Jesus going to be 3 days and 3 nights in the Hades, where he will take off and take back the keys of life and death. Verse 5, and when his disciples were come to the other side, they had forgotten to take bread. And when Jesus said unto them, take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees. And they reasoned among themselves, saying, is it because we have taken no bread? Still old school. Verse 7. Verse 8. And when Jesus perceived, he said unto them, O ye of little faith, Have ye reasoned among yourselves because ye have brought no bread? Do you not understand whether neither remember of the 5 loaves of the 5,000 and how many baskets you took up? Neither of the 7 loaves of the 4,000 and how many baskets you took up? How is it that you do not understand? I spake it not to you concerning bread, that ye should beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees. Then understood they how that he bade them not beware of the leaven of bread, but of the doctrine of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees. See, the Pharisees and the Sadducees, they were basically going by the traditions of men. Okay? Verse 13. Then Jesus came into the coast of Caesarea Philippi, and he asked his disciples, saying of them, whom do men say that I, the Son of Man, am? And they said, some say thou art John the Baptist, some say Elias, others Jeremiah, or one of the prophets. And he said unto them, but whom do you say that I am? And Simon Peter answered and said, thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God. And Jesus answered and said unto him, blessed art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed it unto you, but my Father which is in heaven. And I say also unto thee that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church. And the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. Now let's put a pin in that right there. Because a lot of people, they have a misconception that Jesus is saying that he's going to build his rock upon Peter. Now Peter, the Greek word for it is Petra, which is a feminine word which would not refer to Peter because he's a male. Okay? He was saying thou art Peter. He was saying that that was his confession that he made, that thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God. And that's how he was referring to Peter and not to himself, because he was the one that was speaking. And the rock, we know Jesus is the rock. He's from the cornerstone that the builders rejected, from Psalms 118, verse 22. So Peter, he's, later in Acts, the book of Acts, he's responsible for a lot of stuff going on in building the church. But remember, Jesus is the rock. He's the cornerstone that the builders rejected. Okay? Verse 19. And I will give unto thee the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatsoever thou shalt bind on the earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever thou shalt loose on earth shall be loose in heaven. Now, that's authority. Jesus gave his disciples and to me and to you authority in the name of Jesus. Just have to know how to use it. Verse 20. Then he charged them, his disciples, that they should tell no man that he was Jesus the Christ. Now, from chapter 16, verse 21 onto chapter, I think it's about chapter 8, you get to rejection of the king. Now the kingdom had already been proclaimed. The king had been proclaimed. And when he starts to tell him of what's going to happen, we get into the rejection of the king. Verse 21 again. From that time forth, Jesus began to show unto his disciples how he must go into this Jerusalem and suffer many things of the elders and the chief priests and the scribes, and be killed, and be raised again on the third day. Now, he's telling them what's going to happen. Were they listening? Verse 22. Then Peter took him and began to rebuke him, saying, Be it far from thee, Lord, that this not be unto thee. Verse 23. But he turned and said unto Peter, Get thee behind me, Satan. Thou art an offense unto me, for thou savorest not the things that be of God, but those that be of men. Now, did you catch that? He said to Peter, Get thee behind me, Satan. Now, he was talking to Peter, but we know that Satan uses people. He can use you if you're not up on your game by doing something. Hey, you're not really thinking, hey, that I did that, but hey, he can work through people. And Jesus caught it. He knew it wasn't Peter talking. He knew it was Satan talking. That's why he said, Get thee behind me, Satan, even though he was talking to Peter. Verse 24. Then said Jesus unto his disciples, If any man come after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. For whosoever shall save his life shall lose it, and whosoever shall lose his life for my sake shall find it. Now, we get into some life issues here, because talking about losing your life, we're talking about basically your life, your soul. Verse 26, For what is a man profited that he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? For what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? You think you can give your soul away? You think your soul is yours? No. All souls belong to God. Verse 27, For the Son of Man shall come in the glory of his Father and his angels, and then he shall reward every man according to his works. And verily I say unto you, there shall be some standing here shall not taste of death till they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. And what's he talking about? He's talking about the people that was with him there. He's talking about in Acts, when after 3 days and when he rose, hey, there was some there that witnessed it, that they didn't see death till they see the Son of Man coming again. He died and he came. He left and he will come back again into this dimension, realizing we're in a different dimension where God is right now. But God is everywhere. You just have to perceive him and know and keep the faith that he is there. He said he'd never leave you nor forsake you, but always guide you and teach you. Because he's your comforter, your counselor, your helper, your intercessor, your strengthener, and your standby. So you're never, never alone. 17. Then after 6 days, Jesus take Peter, James, and John his brother, and bringing them up into a high mountain apart. And when he was transfigured before them, and his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment as white as the light, and behold, there appeared unto them Moses and Elijah talking with him. Now this was something to see. I mean, we should have been there. Verse 4, and then answered Peter and said unto Jesus, Lord, it is good for us to be here. If thou wilt, let us make here thee 3 tabernacles, one for thee, one for Moses, and one for Elijah. While yet he spake, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them, and behold, a voice out of the cloud which said, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear ye him. Listen to him. Verse 6, and when the disciples heard it, they fell on their faces and were sore afraid. And Jesus came and touched them and said, Arise, and be not afraid. And when they had lifted up their eyes, they saw no man save Jesus only. And when they came down from the mountain, Jesus charged them, saying, Tell the vision to no man until the Son of Man be risen again from the dead. Now he's telling them again what's going to happen. All they had to do was keep the faith. Verse 10, and his disciples asked him, saying, Why then say the scribes that Elijah must come first? And Jesus answered and said unto them, Elijah truly shall come first and restore all things. But I say unto you that Elijah is come already, and they knew him not, but have done unto him whatsoever they listed. Likewise shall also the Son of Man suffer of them. Now, they're telling them again, Jesus is telling his disciples again what's going to happen to him. But in their mind, they're thinking of manly kingdoms and what man would do in the situation, not what God had planned. Verse 13, then the disciples understood that he spake unto him of John the Baptist. And when they had come to the multitude, there came to him a certain man, kneeling down before him, saying, Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is lunatic and sore vexed, for oft times he falleth into the fire, and oft times into the water. And I brought him unto thy disciples, and they could not cure him. Then Jesus answered and said, O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you, and how long shall I suffer you? It's saying, how long can I put up with you? Because he was showing them, telling them what to do, keep the faith, but they said they had little faith. Then Jesus answered and said, O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Bring him hither to me. Verse 18, and Jesus rebuked the devil, and he departed out of him, and the child was cured from that very hour. Then the disciples came apart and said, Why could not we cast him out? And Jesus said unto them, Because of your unbelief. For verily I say unto you, if you have faith as a grain of a mustard seed, And you shall say unto this mountain, remove thence to yonder place, it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. Howbeit, this kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting. Now, when you get down to some devils, prayer and fasting is the key to getting them out. But normally, your confession of faith in the name of Jesus will get any devil to step in. Verse 22, and while they abode in Galilee, Jesus said unto them, the Son of Man shall be betrayed into the hands of men, and they shall kill him. And the third day he shall be raised again. And they were exceedingly sorry. Now, he's telling them, hey, I'm going to be killed, but on the third day, I'm coming back. But in their mind, I don't think they really understood that, because nobody ever before that has died ever came back. Verse 24, and when they were coming to Capernaum, they that received tribute money came to Peter and said, doth not your master pay tribute? And he said, yes. And when he was coming to the house, Jesus prevented him, saying, what thinkest thou, Simon, of whom the kings of the earth take customs or tribute? Of their own children, or of strangers? And Peter said unto him, of strangers. Jesus said unto him, then are the children free? Notwithstanding, lest we should offend them, go thou to the sea, and cast a hook, and take up the fish that first cometh up. And when thou hast opened the mouth, thou shalt find a piece of money. Take that, and give unto them for me and thee. Now, that's another miracle. He's telling Peter to go fishing, and the first fish he catches, there's going to be a piece of money in his mouth. Hey, then he told him to go pay the taxes for him and for Jesus. I mean, it's good to be a fisher of men. It's even better to be a fish for where you can catch fish and find money in their mouth. But hey, that's life. That's what plan that Jesus had, and hey, he took care of his tax problems. And I'm out of time. And so is 2021. But I'll see you again in 2022, where we continue in Gospel of Matthew on Life is One Day at a Time.com.
For the glory, up, 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 for the glory, up, 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 for the glory, up, 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 for the glory, up. How hard is it for everyone everywhere to come together and pray? Stop, take a minute, pray. Rejoice. Don't forget, lifeisonedayataTime.com comes on every week with Minister Chestnut, live and in living color. So be there every week, because Jesus is our rock.